Well, we are inside today. The friendly confines here of Jocks. Welcome in. This is Three Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly, and Conrad. Welcome you into the program. It's a bit odd. I just was going to hang out in the parking lot today like I did yesterday. I know Conrad had a good time yesterday. It's good to see you all cleaned up. How you feeling? Feeling good?
Feeling good. It's nice to be back to doing my normal job.
How long did it take to get all the gravy out of your hair?
It really wasn't that bad. It only
Okay.
took me about 20 minutes. Couple showers.
2 showers.
2 showers.
Why couldn't one suffice?
Because I got out and
You
looked in
still
the mirror
smelled it?
and went, nah, I probably need to do another one. Got back in and we're all good now. We're
Okay.
now 3 showers in because I took one this morning as well.
Conrad was all over local television last night. Molly put together, it was 11 minutes. Was that the video?
Yes, but it was worth all of the hours of editing to make that video.
11-minute video. That takes a minute or two to produce for those that
Just a little bit.
have never edited video and then exporting and uploading and things of that nature. So,
I was telling Ryan this morning, it sounded like my laptop was about to take off for flight.
just because the it was a lot of power being used there.
Yes,
Well, luckily you had hopefully the fan was working in your
it
laptop.
was. Mm-hmm.
Very nice. We have got a lot to get into. We will keep you updated on what we're hearing from the coaching world, what's going on with John Sumrall. There was a lot of rumors yesterday from the state of Florida, if he was going to be interviewing for the job or not. We got all sorts of news and information coming out of North Mississippi about Lane Kiffin. We got Bama basketball and Auburn basketball last night, big wins. But setting the stage for a guest, we will talk to Rodney Orr at 11 o'clock. A little bit of a change. Typically on Thursdays, we talk to Brett Norsworthy at 12:30. He's going to be on the program at 11:30 today, the Southern gentleman. At 11:45, Rob Pate. And then at 1:30, we'll go to Florida. We'll talk to David Waters from the Gators Breakdown podcast and find out exactly what is going on there, because it seems like it is a 3-school race for Lane Kiffin and what exactly is going to happen there. And we're going to start there. It is interesting. I was watching Matt Moscona yesterday afternoon, the outstanding talk show host from ESPN Radio down in Baton Rouge, a frequent contributor to this radio station, both on Mac and Cube and on our show. And Matt said yesterday, this was directly out of his mouth, that LSU is willing to go up to $16 million to pay for Lane Kiffin. $16 million.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
So it sounds like 13 and a half was the initial, 15 was the asking, and then a bidding war began, and then 16 is now the current number. Based on that, I'm just guessing.
According to Matt, he said that if LSU needed to go to that number, they could. Not saying that they're offering $16 million.
Isn't it crazy to think that they could pay their coach more than the New Orleans Saints paid their head coach? He would be a top 5 he'd be the highest paid in college football. He'd be a top 5 highest paid coach in the NFL at $16 million a year.
Well, LSU's a better brand and a better football program than the New Orleans Saints.
Fair.
So
I do think all things being equal, I have a gut feeling that his preference would be to go to Florida as opposed to LSU.
So it is interesting. I was reading this morning behind the paywall, Rebels 247. They said nothing tangible happened yesterday from an Ole Miss perspective in Lane Kiffin. They continue to beat the drum that the communication between Carter and Lane it's very good. So, and it makes sense if you kind of think about it, as opposed to Carter not talking to him because maybe Carter's ticked off about the situation. It's better for you to know up front, like, what's going on, because you're actually talking to this, talking to the source. You're not trying to get the information from somewhere else. But according to Rebels 247, they said Kiffin did speak recently to Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. The call happened as part of Kiffin's look into the LSU job. LSU and Ole Miss both think Florida is running and fading third in the race for the services of Lane Kiffin. LSU is only worried about Ole Miss and Kiffin returning to Oxford. Chase Parham, who is one of the writers there at 247, he reported that Sexton wants Kiffin to get on with it and make a decision.
Sexton's got other guys that he needs to move.
That's when you know it's bad, when Jimmy Sexton's getting antsy.
Well, Sexton, he's got his whole list, right? And the first domino is Lane Kiffin. That's a big domino.
Yeah, and he's also got a lot of assistant coaches
Mhm.
in his stable.
Yep.
So need that domino to keep falling so that he can place a hot assistant coach potentially in a head coaching position.
Jimmy wants everything nice and neat before Christmas, Pat.
Neil McCready, who is a writer for 247 Ole Miss, he gave an update this morning at 7:05 a.m. and he said the following: "There's a lot of buzz in the coaching agent world that it was Florida that leaked its soon-to-be canceled interview with Tulane coach John Sumrall. The sourcing speculation gossip is Florida has basically been ghosted by Kiffin as this week has progressed, and the leak of an interview with Sumrall was meant to re-engage him." McCready says, "I've basically quit paying attention to Florida, so maybe it worked, though I sincerely doubt it. I think this is an Ole Miss LSU thing now. LSU has let Kiffin know it will basically do whatever he wants. He just has to," as Chase Parham had pointed out at 247 there at the Ole Miss site, that it is the time to make a decision one way or another. So
Interesting if that's the case, if it's in his eyes down to Ole Miss and LSU. Would you not think personality, though? You can take Layla and her father and her history with Florida out of it. Would you not think Lane's personality more? I would see Florida being more attractive to him for a lot of different reasons other than on the field football.
You know, Nick Saban, it really enjoyed his time at LSU, and he was given all the tools. LSU was in need of new facilities. They didn't have an academic center. I mean, LSU, like a lot of other programs in the early 2000s, they were really lagging behind. I mean, Alabama needed to redo all of their facilities. They had to redo their weight room, and that was something that Mal Moore, I'll never forget Mal Moore taking me and Paul Feinbaum in Mal Moore's car, driving around campus, laying out all the things that he wanted to do to get Alabama up to speed with other programs in the SEC, because Bama had fallen behind from a facility standpoint. Well, LSU was that way before Nick got there. So when Nick got there, he basically said, "I need this, I need that," and it was carte blanche. They did it. And I think probably it has gotten back to Kiffin, and Ole Miss has done everything that he's wanted, but I think it's probably gotten back to Kiffin like, hey, look, you know, it's the flagship university of the state. They can do whatever they want to do, especially when the governor and everybody else is aligned. We've seen that. So I talked to a couple of Ole Miss people last night. They seemed more confident that he potentially was going to stay. Talked to a couple other people that have pointed out that it is a very interesting time to be in that football building in regards to just the, I guess the angst. A lot of folks want to know what's going on. And a lot of people are tight-lipped, which, unless you're on social media and you follow Lane Kiffin, but a lot of people are still kind of wondering where everything stands. So whether LSU, Ole Miss, or Florida, it seems now that those three schools are vying for his attention.
Fun time to be a Florida fan. I guess LSU fans feeling a little bit better about it. It does feel like Florida, as far as a big name splash guy, that it's Kiffin or bust.
You never know about Lincoln Riley out there.
Yeah, that's the wild card.
His name continues to be out there in the hinterland. So we'll see what happens there. So we mentioned John Sumrall. Yesterday was a very interesting time for John Sumrall. As we have talked about on this show really from day one when Hugh Freeze was guillotined by John Cohen, that it appeared that John Sumrall was going to be the number one candidate for the Auburn job. That has not changed. Nothing has wavered off of that belief. But yesterday afternoon, On3 reporter for the Gators site, he tweeted at 1:58 that John Sumrall was scheduled to interview with Florida. And then about an hour and a half later, Pete Nakos, part of the On3 network, he then tweeted that that was not happening, that interview was not going to take place. And then NOLA.com reported yesterday that there was never an interview scheduled, that was completely erroneous. And then it goes back to what we just talked about a moment ago, that the Ole Miss site behind the paywall, they said that they believed that story was leaked by the University of Florida just to try to re-engage Lane Kiffin with the situation in Florida.
Makes sense. A lot of poker moves here.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Yeah, I found it interesting, the timing of all of that, because the questions were, well, was that John Sumrall's camp that immediately reaches out and says, hey, by the way, John's not interested in the Florida job? We've already got something else going on we're working through right now.
I thought it was interesting that, I don't know, it just came off to me. It's like, oh, you're just now considering him a candidate for, if you're Florida. You know, I guess that was my take of, if you're Florida, he probably should have been a serious candidate, but if you're just now waiting until now to have contact with him, if that was legitimate, that seems like that was a misstep on the Florida behalf.
The other line of thinking is, we've put everything on Kiffin. We think that it's gone south. Oh gosh, what are we going to do?
Yeah, you're hitting the panic button.
Gruden's the only other name that we had on the list. Let's circle back to maybe the original rough list that we had.
I mean, if you have a situation, no matter who it is, whether it's Florida or LSU, and Lane has said, at least on social media, that he doesn't make decisions based on money, and whoever loses out in the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes, how that fan base is going to react. Because it's also interesting because when you have people like Matt Moscona, who's very well connected within LSU circles, when he says on his podcast that they are willing to go up to $16 million, that's also signaling to the fans, we're going all in here. Like, we're going to do everything in our power to make this and consummate this deal. And so if he changes his mind and he just wants to stay in Oxford, or he decides that he wants to be in the Eastern time zone as opposed to the Central time zone, he wants to go to Florida, then it's not going to be on the fact that they did not put together a really nice proposal for that job. So at the end of the day, it will just be up to Lane Kiffin what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. But it's not going to be for the lack of money from either of the three schools that's in the conversation.
Can you see Lane Kiffin, because you know Ole Miss better than a lot of us, can you see Lane Kiffin being welcomed back if he chooses ultimately to leave?
Every single day that goes by, a little bit of that keeps being chipped away because for example, last weekend should have been a celebration of beating Florida and putting themselves squarely in the conversation to be in the college football playoff and maybe even play for an SEC championship. But instead, after the game, you have all these rumors swirling. You also have Lane Kiffin bitching about the attendance from the Citadel game the week before. Instead of talking about the record attendance that you had at Vaught-Hemingway and the excitement level that you have of your football team winning a game and putting yourself in a position to go to the college football playoff, he wants to go back and starts bitching about other stuff.
Win some natties, and then you can pull a Saban.
Keep in mind, was it last year or the year before when Billy Napier, his name came up that he was going to be axed at Florida? And then all of a sudden, Lane Kiffin is like doing tweets of pictures of alligators.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the stuff that he does, we all kind of blow it off and say that's Lane being Lane. But as an Ole Miss fan, you're sitting there going, okay, we should be celebrating what we have right now, but we can't celebrate because now we're worried about that next shoe falling because he's created this.
Yes, he has.
This is all done by him. This is a production of Lane Kiffin Enterprises.
He has a right to do it for his personal life and his professional life moving forward. Absolutely. Could he have handled it a lot better? 100%.
Yeah.
See, this is why I love Lane Kiffin. I think he's great for for football. I'm incredibly entertaining, good football coach. I would never want him to be my football coach of the team that I supported. It'd be a headache. Like, it's great from the outside looking in. It's great that we can watch him on Twitter and laugh at it because doesn't really affect us that much. But if I'm an Ole Miss fan,
what Pat said originally, that's the thing that sticks to me because you've probably dealt with this at some point, whoever you pull for, college football, any sport with your team. But you can't enjoy a historic moment because of a lot of extra crap that has nothing to do with the football that you've invested in, whether it's watching, following, attending. It's a shame.
Well, it's also interesting because he's worked so hard to put Ole Miss in a position to be successful, and he's got them there. And it's been a great 5 years. If you're an Ole Miss fan, but you can't.
No, he's not gonna even if it plays out the way we think it is. If he does leave, he's not gonna be able to enjoy it.
No,
not only the Ole Miss fans, then Lane Kiffin still has not appeared in a college football playoff as a head coach, right?
He hasn't. But folks are willing to pay him $16 million, which would be almost $3 million more than Kirby Smart makes at the University of Georgia.
So, and this is for another day. Is Joe Judge your interim head coach?
Possibly. Joe's very well respected. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But we will talk to Brett Norsworthy coming up at 11:30. We will then talk to David Waters from the Gators Breakdown podcast at 1:30. So we'll try to, get an idea of where things currently stand. But all indications are that it might be a few more days of watching and seeing what's going on in Oxford. When we come back on Three Man Front, we'll give you the very latest, what we know about the Auburn search. Is John Sumrall still squarely number one candidate to take over on the Plains once the Iron Bowl is over with? We'll get into all of that next. Your phone calls, 1-800-239-WJOX. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on Thursday. We are 1 week away from Thanksgiving. We will be here every day next week for the exception of Thanksgiving Day. And, of course, it'll be a big week. It'll be Iron Bowl week here on the program.
I saw your turkey this morning.
How they looking?
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Enjoying their sauna.
Beautiful.
It's low and slow.
Fantastic. Gringo and Landrum, for the last few years, been taking care of my turkey needs.
I passed it off to Gringo last year.
Well, you still oversee the production.
I do. I'm quality control.
Yes, make sure that he's wearing a hairnet, got gloves on, stuff like that.
Yeah, I like to go and just pull little random pieces. And I cover it up. I
check it
disguise
out.
it. You and Leanne and the family. You never know.
That's fine.
I go in there and just make sure.
And we appreciate it.
I know you do.
Well, you don't want to get caught in the cold, so schedule your system checkup now from a Train comfort specialist. Train has been recognized for 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home comfort partners here at Jock. So go and visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you.
So it was interesting yesterday, John Sumrall, the head football coach of the Tulane Green Wave, it was rumored that he was going to have a meeting with the University of Florida. That was quickly debunked by multiple media outlets. Landrum, what is the very latest you're hearing on the plains about John Sumrall potentially becoming the Auburn next head football coach?
There's a lot of smoke that's out there, but it's all consistent with John Sumrall being John Cohen's number one guy. A lot of people think that there is a deal that is close to being done. Understand that the parties have met at least one time this week, and I don't know how much that they've conversed back and forth, but I do still believe that John Sumrall will be the next head football coach at Auburn.
Okay. Well,
time-wise, I have no idea.
Not that, again, we've pretty much identified from day one, the moment that Hugh Freeze was let go, that was potentially going to be the guy that John Cohen circled in on. But we do know that John Cohen has done his due diligence with multiple candidates.
Well, and it just didn't just start. I started hearing this from Auburn people, and John Sumrall was the name that came up last year. There were people actually that believed that Hugh Freeze was not going to be able to get it done, and identifying guys, that would be a good fit. And John Sumrall is a name that's been consistent, and I think the vetting process and talking with either former players or former coaches or just coaches and colleagues around the league, and apparently a lot of high regard for one John Sumrall from whoever you talk to. So that's the name I'm hearing. It's the only name I've really heard, but I'm sure that there'll be other names that'll be tossed in by certain folks here in the closing hours.
So I would expect, since John Cohen has been very busy the last few weeks, that I would anticipate that as soon as that Iron Bowl is official, not saying that you won't already hear some stuff leaking out before the Iron Bowl, because I'll never forget 1996 Iron Bowl at Legion Field. All of a sudden, that morning, started getting rumors around Legion Field that Gene Stallings was going to step down as soon as the game was over with. And that was like, oh, there's no way. Why would Gene Stallings do that? No way. No. And guess what happened? After Riddle scored the touchdown and Alabama beat Auburn, he announced he was stepping down.
Well, in some cases, we've had people that have leaked it because nobody wanted the certain candidate and they wanted the outcry. We can remember what happened at Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. With Greg Schiano, got an athletics director fired. And then Schiano was obviously not given that opportunity to be the coach. Remember, Mike Leach was almost Tennessee head coach.
He was?
During that situation. So,
Mike Gundy was fighting for that job, wasn't he?
Mike Gundy was fighting for every job. Now he's promoting Oklahoma State hockey. I don't know if you saw that on social media yesterday. Yes. Apparently, Oklahoma State now has a hockey team. It might be a club team, but apparently they're going to take on Oklahoma. It's going to be Bedlam on ice. And so he was actually promoting that on his social media yesterday. And he was still geared up with all of his Oklahoma State gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? If you're there.
He's making all that money, probably still getting all of his buyout money.
Poke for life.
No doubt.
Hey, did you have a chance to catch any of James Franklin's introduction there in Blacksburg?
A little. I just can't stomach him. It's
tough.
But he was getting so emotional, Pat. It meant so much to him.
Well, he uses his Apple Notes portion of his phone.
Very, very beginning. How James Franklin does this sound? So one of the pool reporters that's there at the press conference, he goes, hey, Coach Franklin, Joe X from WABCD and wherever. He goes, "Hey, Joe, how are you?" And then the guy just continued with his question, and then Franklin cuts him off again. "Hi, Joe, how are you?" So it's like, man, it's probably better he got that job than
It's
some
gonna
other
be,
places I can think where that would go over, like in Punch Bowl.
It's going to be fascinating to see his staff. I was reading something out of Pennsylvania about who he's going to be bringing with him for his staff. And, Brent Pry, who was the former head coach of Virginia Tech, was the defensive coordinator for James Franklin at Penn State. Would that not be odd
Yeah.
if the head coach
Uh-huh.
of Virginia Tech, who got fired, ends up being the defensive coordinator for the school that he worked for previously? Stranger things have happened.
You can show him where everything is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only difference is he doesn't have a big office.
Yeah. I think that James Franklin that's a grand slam for that program.
Oh, there's no question. It's a great hire.
Hey, I thought it was interesting too, though, when he was addressing the fan base. He said, "Hey, look, all I have is my family and football. I don't have any hobbies."
See, that sounds even worse when you can't win football games. I mean, at least with Hugh Freeze.
I study film 24/7 and devise game plans.
I mean, when it's all said and done and you read the autobiography of Hugh Freeze 20 years from now and he says, "You know what? I mean, I played a lot of golf.
Yeah.
It's why we didn't win at Auburn. I was more worried about my short game than I was."
Did I win a
the iron
conference
ball.
championship? No. Did I get fired? Yes. Did I make a ton of money and still get to play golf in season? Yes.
Absolutely. But that just makes James Franklin even look worse as a football coach.
I thought it was funny with Hugh Freeze and the whole, where was he spending his time, that James Franklin wanted to let everybody
put
know
that
that
out
he
there.
had zero hobbies.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. But I will say this about Virginia Tech, and I applaud them. They also announced yesterday that they are committing about $221 million more to their athletics program. I mean, they are going, when I say all in, I mean, they are going all in to be one of the upper echelon teams in the ACC. And that's what you have to do. It's either, go for it or go home. Bust yourself down to an FCS. Whatever.
And it's funny, you talk about the financial commitment, and you look at with Whit, Babcock, and I think 2 or 3 of the other people's, like the board of rectors, I don't know, something like that were up there, powerful people at Virginia Tech on that stage. They looked like guys that had always said, "I'm never going to buy a new car," and they just stroked a check for a new car.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. That really is.
Like, ooh, this better work.
Yeah, that's the way they looked. We will get to your phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. You're listening to the Thursday edition of 3-Man Front. We had basketball last night. So despite the Damian Mitchell show with special guest Conrad Van Order spending a major amount of time this morning talking about basketball, I don't know what came over y'all. What is y'all's problem talking about a basically a top 10 matchup between Illinois and Alabama? Why would you spend so much time talking about that?
I don't know, Pat. It was obviously the worst 7 minutes in sports radio history this morning. So I apologize to everyone that you had to listen to us talk about that game.
Man, people on social media, they were ripping you guys apart.
Irresponsible.
People from Chicago texting into the show going, what's the deal here? Why are we not talking about football?
I saw Brett Bielema chime in.
Yeah, unbelievable. Bama, 90-86 win last night in front of 17,775 patrons at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. The Tide's LeBaron Philon Jr. had 24 points, 19 of which came in the second half. He finished 9 of 18 shooting from the floor. 4 Alabama players finished in double figures, including Taylor Bowen, 12 points, Aiden Holloway, 11. Keaton Bristow, how about him? Tarleton State finally got on the floor.
He was really, really good for Alabama last night.
He looked really good. And Houston Mallette, he had 10 points along with Bristow, so that was big. Mallette looks really good at the free throw line. That looks like the guy that you need to hand the ball to in late game situations.
Yeah, you saw there was the one time late in the game where you were in free throw time, right, where they were just trying to foul Alabama and keep the game close. And he ran what looked like essentially back across the entire court to get the inbounds and get the free throw, and he hit both of them. He is 15 of 15 on free throws this year. He's 100% from the line.
That will play.
He's pretty comfortable there.
Yeah, that will play, and especially in front of a partisan crowd. I know that they technically called it a neutral site game.
I mean, you're playing in Chicago.
Yeah, you're playing in Chicago, and my goodness gracious, if you had some of the crowd shot, if you could see some of the text messages that I sent Conrad last night.
Yeah, they didn't look super enthused to be there.
I'll let Conrad read some of them. Not on the air, by the way.
There's so many comments I could follow up with, but I'm not going to today.
Not on the air.
Not today. Okay.
But just during a commercial break.
Yeah.
Share, because I thought I had a funny line.
No, you did, and you were.
And I was spot on, was I not?
You were spot on if you were watching the game and paying attention. But yeah, the whole neutral site. I mean, that's like calling the game they played in Birmingham last year a neutral site game. I think we know what the majority of the crowd was.
There was not a lot of Fighting Illini fans there. Not a lot of orange-wearing fans, unless there were Auburn fans there rooting for Illinois last year.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, but no, I mean,
I think that happened.
Probably so. But it was a fantastic basketball game, and that's what I was saying this morning is. Look, I get it. If you hate Alabama or you hate Auburn, whatever, you may not watch the other team. But if you just like watching good basketball, the last 3 games that Alabama's played, I know they lost the one to Purdue. They've just been really entertaining basketball games to watch if you just like the sport of basketball.
Yeah,
there's no question.
They've been really fun.
Alabama's bench had a big night, 32 points off the bench. That'll play too. Hit your free throws and get good bench play. I know at halftime going into the locker room, I think on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I think Oates was still bemoaning the lack of physicality down low on the rebounding boards. But
yeah, they got beat out on the offensive rebounds again. I think Illinois had 2 more rebounds for them, like overall for the night, so that's not too bad. But that's a game. I mean, look, if you're Illinois, that's a game they played really, really well, but it came down to free throws, and that's why Alabama won and Illinois did not win. Alabama hit their free throws at the end. Illinois did not. Alabama gets a big top 10 win on the road.
Yeah, that was huge. I will go very far for them come Selection Sunday for the NCAA basketball tournament. Meanwhile, the Tide, it doesn't get any easier. They got number 13 Gonzaga. Gonzaga will probably be up a few notches. I'm sure Bama will be up a couple notches as well. They're going to play in Las Vegas. That's coming up on Monday. Meanwhile, Auburn had a nice little warm-up, little tune-up. They scored 112 points against Jackson State. They shot 65% for the game. They scored the most points in a game since 2019 for an Auburn basketball team. The 56-point win is tied for the Tigers' largest win against a Division I opponent in the last 60 years. That's what you're supposed to do. You play a SWAC team, you smack them.
That's right.
And that's exactly what Auburn did last night.
Jokic, who, I don't know, you take the opponent, but he was the best that Auburn had seen him play. He's the guy from, is it Serbia, I think?
Sounds right.
Yeah. He was a lot better than he had been in the previous few games. So I think that Stephen Pearl was encouraged by that.
Yeah, my thing, my question for Auburn fans would be because it's still so early in the season, and you don't want to push the panic button on anything, but it's been a really slow start for Todd Pettiford.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, right, they have a lot of guys around him that have been able to step up, and namely Keyshawn Hall, even though I know he didn't play last night, but I think that's just something to keep an eye on is how do they get Todd Pettiford going a little bit more because he's
off.
It's been rougher. And I mean, it goes back to the exhibition games. He just didn't look like the guy we saw last year, who was one of the very best players in the SEC.
Auburn will face Oregon, the Ducks, coming up early next week. So both Alabama and Auburn getting these tune-ups because before you know it, you're going to blink, and we're going to be at the end of December, and it will be time for SEC conference play. And most people believe the SEC is going to be strong again, 11, 12 teams possibly in the NCAA tournament. I know Kentucky fans are bemoaning right now because they get beat pretty bad against their cross-state rival, and now all of a sudden they believe that
You hate to see it.
a preseason top 10 team maybe not performing the way they should. UConn loses to Arizona.
That was a great game last
Arizona's
night.
really good.
Yeah, Arizona has really smacked a lot of top-quality teams around here in the very first part of the season. So it should be a wild ride once we kind of turn the page from college football to college basketball.
And you get the NIL tournament on Monday. Or that's the one that Alabama and Auburn are playing in for the extra cash.
Yes.
So maybe the players get a little bit of a fire under them.
Mm-hmm.
Grease up those pockets a little bit.
Yeah,
I think during timeouts for these NIL grabs, they do like a rock and jock type thing, where during the timeout you go and you have a player that shoots a half-court shot for, I don't know, Lamborghini.
I like it. Make it happen.
Because some of these guys, that's all they need is more stuff.
That's
Yeah,
right.
just one more toy, right?
Right.
That's exactly what they need. As the weather turns, now's the time to get your mowers and tractors serviced for the end of the season, and Artec Tractor is the place to do it. They're your certified Mahindra servicing dealer, and just in time for the hunting season, their hunter's package includes a Mahindra 1635 with loader, trailer, bush hog, tiller, and spreader, all for $0 down and just $450 per month. Artec has a full line of tractors as well as heavy construction equipment for those big jobs just north of Jasper on Highway 5 or online at artectractor.com. I've been bragging to Landrum because my zero turn that I purchased from Artec Tractor, I got that attachment now on the back where basically it's a vacuum cleaner. And so it mulches and it sucks up all the leaves in my backyard. I've already had to use it twice this week, and I looked out before I left this morning, and guess what? I'm going to start that bad boy up this afternoon and get some more work done.
Pat, your bragging has had an impact on me, and it's gotten to the point where every time I put on my backpack blower, I cuss you.
It's my fault?
Say words that I shouldn't say under my breath. Yep, as I'm lugging that thing around, and then as I'm trying to get my back straight.
Why don't you
4
just
days
blow
later.
it in Gringo's yard? Why don't you just do that?
No, Gringo. Here's the thing about Gringo. Gringo will knock his out before 8 a.m.
Oh, well, you're a little busy. You can't do that.
I know. So I have to play catch up
Yeah.
late in the afternoons.
Yeah.
But luckily, most of mine are done.
It's and having this obviously zero turn from Artec Tractor has been a life-changing experience for me. I've talked about it since spring when
I can
when
attest to
purchased it.
that. It's changed your life.
But it was so demoralizing when you would spend all weekend long picking up leaves and mulching and doing things with my yard prior to me purchasing this, because it really would be an all weekend type thing. And you get done with it, and then on Monday and Tuesday, it looks like I didn't even touch it.
Right.
But now, starting that zero turn and putting gas in it and getting in the backyard and taking care of business, 2 or 3 times a week, it's no big deal.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, the way that my yard is laid out and just the size of my yard, because you have a pretty substantial yard. So it's perfect for you. I can't use one. I need one that's about the size of a Segway.
Yeah.
With just a big attachment on the back that drags behind.
Maybe we should develop that. Call Artec Tractor, and we can
Artec, let's get on that.
like research and development.
That
Let's
or
go.
some kind of force field that goes over my yard and just disintegrates leaves.
Let's just put a bubble like they do, like these.
Like they do at the pool.
Yeah, like the local YMCA's when it gets cold. They just put
My
the bubble.
biodome.
Yeah, just put that over it.
That'd actually be fun.
Yeah. A lot of northern schools, they don't have indoor practice facilities. Don't they do that, Molly? Some Big Ten schools have
Think
that.
about it, climate controlled. have people come over and it's 72 degrees
Yeah.
inside the biodome. We're just sitting out in an Adirondacks, and everybody that's driving down the streets dealing with the 23-degree weather in February.
Yep. I think that would happen at your house.
Yeah, it would. A lot happens over there.
All right, we will get to your phone calls, your text as well. Top of the hour, Rodney Orr, Brett Norsworthy, Rob Pate, a very busy 11 o'clock hour. Love to hear from you on this Thursday edition of Three Man Front. Welcome back to Three Man Front on Jocks on this Thursday. Once again, a major thank you to our listeners of Jocks across the state of Alabama, people around the country that sent money in to Conrad's Venmo. We were able to take that money and go purchase a lot of food for a lot of people for the holiday season. Thanks to many of our listeners that came up here yesterday. They brought non-perishable items to the parking lot. Once again, want to thank you to the wonderful people at Chubb Fathers. They gave away some free gift certificates to listeners that came up here. Twin Peaks for providing us food. Milo's Sweet Tea, they stopped by yesterday. They provided all the drinks for everyone that was not only packing up bags for those underprivileged for Thanksgiving, but also for all of us and everyone that stopped by and was able to enjoy the food from Twin Peaks. So again, a hearty thank you for everyone for making it such a great success, and to Conrad for being such a great sport and allowing us the opportunity to do that.
Well, I appreciate y'all. It was a good time, and we got to help a lot of people in need. And I just wanted to add, because we've had a couple people call in this morning, because the food will be given away on Monday, and so that's being orchestrated by our sister station Hot 107.7, and they have identified 100 families that they're going to give the Thanksgiving meals to that we had prepared and donated, thanks to y'all. So that's going to be happening on Monday here at the station. They're going to be handing those out, and then everything that is left, because we had so many donations, we had too much food, that we're sending the rest of it to a local food bank here right down the road in Homewood. So that is where, if you're wondering where all your hard-earned donations are going, that is where they're going on Monday. So
And-
you're going to make a lot of people very happy.
And if you didn't have a chance to come by, we understand that stuff happens. You couldn't contribute a food item or monetarily. I would just encourage everyone, if you couldn't do it now, there's still time to go and find somebody that you can help, whether it's donating to a food bank, or maybe it's just somebody that you know that's been struggling, maybe going through a hard time. Surprise them with a little bit of help, and everybody could use a blessing, right?
Absolutely. But just want to say thank you again. It's a humbling experience to be able to see the community
Oh, it's
come
awesome.
together in situations like this, because there's so much negativity that you see, whether it's on television or media, whatever the case may be. But in situations like that, it shows you the better side of humanity and what people are all about. And we've got the best listeners. Listen, I do a lot of interviews around the country, and it makes me so proud
Yep.
when they introduce me and they say where I'm from in regards to Birmingham, and also the blowtorch of jocks and what that carries and what that means outside of the state of Alabama. It's really humbling.
And it's because of you.
Absolutely. It's not because of me. It's not of this show. It's the listeners and what they have made jocks over the years. So once again, you guys I tip my cap to you for what you did this week.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You got to check out the Finnick. We got the NFL tonight. We got college football, college basketball all weekend long. You can check out the Finnick. Massive screens, explosive sound. Every seat in the house, the experience is bigger, brighter, and bolder. They got a restaurant menu that is fabulous, whether it's the wings, the wood-fired grilled burgers, maybe it's the hand-cut steaks they do there in-house, maybe it's the fresh Gulf seafood. They got fork and knife stuff, too, but the shareables. When you think sports bar, upscale, that's what you're going to get at the Finnick. Also, they got live acoustic music this evening, 5:30 to 8, but they'll also have the sports on, and it's all football all weekend long, whether it's college football or the NFL. You can check it out at the Finnick. 1630 2nd Avenue South near Railroad Park. Tell them Landrum from Jock sent you.
So we've already had 5 games in the MAC this week, which I have been in hog heaven.
Yes, you have. Congratulations.
Thank you. I've gone 5-0 in my MAC picks. No,
You knew that was coming.
I told him.
Well, first off, don't ask me what I did last week. We just got to talk about what.
Yeah,
what
we're
happened-
all we
happened
care
this
about is
week.
what have you done for us lately, Pat?
Absolutely.
I've predicted that Pat wins his next 2 plays, and then he picks up his first L. The trend ends at 7.
think that's what it is.
So if you want to capitalize on Pat's
Yeah, go to my website.
Twin Bill
Yes.
Maction Play of the Year.
Yes. Massive. Well, last night, if you happened to be watching some action before the Alabama game or the Auburn game, it was Miami of Ohio over Buffalo 37-20. Central Michigan, the Chippewas, get a win against Kent State 28-16. I will just say this. If you're a college football fan, the last couple of years for Kent State has been awful, terrible. One of the worst programs that has now been replaced by UMass.
Wasn't it? They had to go in there for a while, though, with Sean Casey, and then he left to go and join
Yeah, then
Dion.
he left, but then it just fell off.
Yeah,
the
it
cliff.
fell off after
it was
that.
bad. Remember, then they fired their coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was all top of chaos. Well,
They tried to get Nick Saban to come back.
I mean, last night, they played a heck of a game against Central Michigan. And if Kent State would have won that game, they would have been 5-6 with 1 game remaining to potentially be bowl eligible. And that's saying something about a program that has been in the doldrums the last couple of years. But they played a heck of a game. They lost at home to Central Michigan. So we've only got one more Tuesday night of Maction, and that's coming up next week. There will not be any Wednesday night games. So Tuesday night, we'll have a doubleheader in Maction, and that'll be it. So it'll be a very sad day. It's kind of like the day after Christmas for me. It's kind of depressing.
You going to wear your Bowling Green jersey as you customarily do?
Well, I have already, and I know we've talked about this on the show, and I've already mapped it out. The closest school to us in the MAC is Oxford, Ohio. We can get to about 500 miles. If we drive, we can get there in 7+ hours.
Have you seen that campus?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
That's nothing.
Or we could fly to Cincinnati, and that's just a very short drive to Oxford, Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we need to do this next year.
I think we should drive. Driving's more fun.
I got people.
Well, you never drive anywhere. You always have people drive you places.
That's right. I build that into my budget every year.
At least he owns it.
I do
that's
own
fine.
it.
That's fine. I would rather go to Miami of Ohio.
What's bad is I used to use, hey, I've had a couple. I don't need to drive, and I would encourage that for everyone. But that's not even an excuse anymore. I don't drink. I just don't really enjoy driving.
I don't want to go to Buffalo, New York, ever. Don't want to go to a football game there. Now, if it's snowy, I might go to Central Michigan. That'd be fun. We could go stay with Molly's brother.
Yeah. Got plenty of people up in Michigan.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. So
We'll go to either Central Michigan on a snow cold game or Buffalo.
well, the easiest thing
I want to be
do
really, really miserable when we go and watch one of these games.
is you could fly to Buffalo, easy, go across town, go to campus for a game. Fly to Cincinnati, short drive to Oxford. You could go to Chicago, then go to DeKalb, Illinois, where Northern Illinois is. You could fly into
We go to Ypsilanti.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which is what, east of Ann Arbor?
Yeah.
I like to plan it because of the way that the schedule falls next season. See if we can actually attend at least 2 games in one night.
Oh, that okay.
Geographically, I could see it being possible, right? If the schedule fell right.
I'll do some looking. I wonder if the MAC schedule's already out for next year. That would
Make
be
it happen.
that would be fun. Maction. Double dip Maction.
I'll come up with a name.
As much as we talk about the MAC on this show, do you think that they would throw us some gear or something?
Yeah.
As much as I've talked about the MAC over the years.
Do we just start including them in all of our, whether it has anything to do with the Mac or not?
Oh, you mean put them on our social media, hashtag Maction?
We should just take the show on the road for an entire season. You remember that guy a couple years ago that he went to 100 college football games in one season? I think we should try to top that.
We need to ask Brett when he comes on, because Brett has seen, oh my goodness, close to 100 college football teams play.
It's remarkable.
I'm curious how many MAC teams, because we might can loop Brett into it and have Brett
He'd be
make
perfect.
the trip with us. That'd be a lot of fun.
Who's driving?
Well, we know
Well,
it's
obviously
not
it's
you.
you.
Huh?
I think Molly should drive.
I can drive.
That's great.
Okay.
I want to
get,
go to Toledo.
I know that
Molly.
part of
Can
the
you
country
drive
pretty
there?
well.
I thought Molly was in charge of music.
I can do both.
Molly can drive the box van.
Yes.
Do you have your CDL? She's looking at me like, what is a CDL?
Go
Wait,
Big
what?
Red.
All right, coming up next, we'll go to Tuscaloosa. We'll talk some football. Rodney Orr from Tider Insider, he joins the program next. Brett Norsworthy, 11:30. Rob Pate, 11:45.